lovely good evening. Welcome to the Millennium Tonight program on Millennium TV. It is good to know that you tuned in this evening. Our dear viewer, thank you so much for joining us. Do remember to catch us on your top study recorders on channel 95 and our Facebook page. It is Millennium TV Zambia. Do join in, be part of the conversation, and of course follow through with the conversations this evening. Tonight on the program, we discuss matters arising, and joining me is Kampinsa Member of Parliament, Honorable Christopher Kang'ombe. As I said, to tune in on our Facebook page, Millennium TV Zambia, and of course on your top set decoders, we're on channel 95. My name is Lovisa Chilufia. Honorable Kang'ombe, good evening. Happy New Year. How are you doing?
Yeah, we're still in that period where we can say
I haven't seen you this year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Many thanks to Millennium TV for inviting me. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for also honoring my invitation, because I've been trying to get you to come on our platform, I think, this year for a very long time.
I've been on the road trying to do a lot of things. Yeah, some things quietly, some in the community, some with young people, talking to young people, trying to do the mentorship. So I've been on the road. Yeah.
I know you've been very busy in the constituency, and you're always visiting the constituency, but I feel like you've been a bit more active with just monitoring the projects and what is happening in the constituency. How's that going?
Well, the constituency has challenges. Some of the challenges, even today, I was asking the Minister of Infrastructure when they will do our feeder roads. These are not roads that can be done by the council because the extent of damage. So we have a challenge of roadworks. You remember early this year, I even debated the state of roads in our city, Kitwe, because Kampinsa is part of Kitwe. So I've been trying to do the advocacy in Parliament very consistently. But of course, we haven't gotten the right amount of support. And maybe through this channel, we hope that government will listen. So yeah, I've been in the constituency. We had a sports festival. You know, every year we do sports. Not just football, because people assume when you do a sports festival.
Football. That's what I was thinking.
I've seen people who are active in communities trying to do football tournaments only. What about netball? What about basketball? So every year we've been doing a sports festival. So this year was even bigger. I'm excited that young people turned out in large numbers. We had boxing. Do you know that boxing is a crowd puller?
Yeah.
People love boxing. Okay, I'll speak for my constituency. So yeah,
it was the first time?
No, we've been having boxing the last 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
So yeah, it was one of those good events. So yeah, I've been active in the constituency. I've been active in Parliament. I've been doing my work as a parliamentarian. Yes.
Anyways, it is good to hear that, Honourable. But let me quickly, firstly, touch on obviously an issue that you haven't addressed in a very long time, and that is to do with the membership of the Patriotic Front. Are you still a Patriotic Front member, or have you decided otherwise after you were expelled for voting, for Bill 7?
Well, Lavisa, I predicted. There are two things I predicted, and I want to take back the people that are watching this program, that some of the problems that the party has faced began when there was that conference at Mulungushi. You remember at Mulungushi, one of our colleagues and a few others decided to hold a conference at Mulungushi where a new party president was elected. Meanwhile, the other 9 candidates who are waiting for PF to pick a leader were waiting. So the problems began there, because that is where the court cases began. And we are where we are today because the party has had encumbrances. Okay, so we may be discussing secondary issues, but we have a primary issue. The primary issue is that the party has had litigation. Because of that litigation, because of those encumbrances, we have Faction 1, Faction 2, Faction 3, and all those problems now continue. I predicted, I spoke on other media platforms, that if this problem is not resolved, it will result in people moving in 3, 4, 5 different directions, which then weakens the ability for the party to be able to be united. because when you are not speaking the same language, everyone takes away some members. This person takes away some members, which then defeats the strength of the political party. Yeah, so the party has been weakened by the split.
But you're still a member of the PF.
Well, I'm a PF member of parliament, okay, until the, when is the parliament being dissolved? Is it the 8th? Yeah, so after the 8th, because of the problems we have in the party, obviously each one of us has to then decide what is the next step that we all take to be able to continue contributing to our country in different ways. Others will choose to recontest, others will choose not to recontest, others will choose. We'll all have to make a decision as we go towards the dissolution of parliament. We have 30 days remaining. So,
according to the courts, obviously when they passed judgment, they handed back the party to Honorable Mayo Sampa and saying that that conference wasn't illegal. So his Patriotic Front faction leader, as we may call it, and today Honorable Lubinda is calling on all party members to support Honorable Mayo Sampa to ensure a smooth transition to a new leadership of some sort.
Well, again, in politics, people tend to pretend that the reality is different. The reality, first of all, I am among the 8 members of parliament who were expelled in 2023.
Right.
Again, people maybe forget history. So, and this history is very short. So 2023, I stood in parliament. And the problem began with the appointment of the leader of opposition. I don't know if you do recall that I was suspended for 30 days.
Yes.
For not agreeing with what Mayo Sampa did, for not agreeing with the appointment of Robert Chabinga as leader of opposition. I stood because I challenged the speaker for recognizing Mayo Sampa and Robert Chabinga. You do recall that there was, we were accused that we disturbed parliament, and I led the disturbances, and I was suspended for 30 days away from parliament. Next thing, the party expelled me. 2023, with 9 other MPs, actually were 9 years. So we took the matter to court. We challenged our expulsion. And you do recall again, I was expelled from parliament by Deputy Speaker Moyo, that I ceased to be a member of PF in 2023. We challenged that through the courts of law, through judicial review. I'm taking people back because there's an audience. This may be a conversation between the two of us, but there's an audience that is following. So we were expelled. We challenged the matter through judicial review. The courts ruled that we were not duly expelled. So we retained our membership, first of all, to the party, and we retained our role in parliament. So we went to court, the 9 of us and my colleague from Matero, Mayo Sampa, where we agreed, both parties agreed that that convention was illegal. We even filed documents before court, okay, where our colleagues stated that that is not how you elect a president of a political party. The members of the Central Committee, the delegates, have to cast their vote. That background is critical to what we are discussing today. So now the courts decide that agreement between the 9 of you and Honorable Mayo Sampa is not binding. We don't agree as a court. But the person who contested did put on record that that is not how you elect a party president. So now the court has ruled that, no, for us as a court, we think that even if whatever happened, that qualifies to be a convention to elect a party president. So with that background, the rest of the activities that have been happening, people electing themselves as president, you hear there was a convention, the rules of the PF are very clear. I really hope that people could read what the constitution of the party says. The constitution of the party is very clear. Notify the delegates, let them go and cast their vote, they pick a party president. But all that is not happening because the matters are in court. The party has encumbrances, which makes it difficult for people to align themselves, to align to whether you'll be in faction 1 or faction 2 or faction 3. It entirely makes our work very difficult, quite unfortunate. Yeah.
Regarding the issue to do with Bill 7, do you think that you were unfairly judged, or by the people of Zambia, of course, because I read a lot of comments. I think I'm one of the people that even asked you a question. I'm like, Honorable, is this true?
Yeah.
But there was that chaos that
in December last year
that happened. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember seeing your statement and all of that. I think even prior to your birthday.
Yeah.
Do you think that you were misjudged in that period, or did you actually get the 3 million that people were alleging that was given to members of the opposition?
Well, I didn't get any money, first of all. Secondly, I am on record. When a document comes to Parliament, you decide, okay, what things are good in this document, what things are bad. Okay, we would have all decided that that document should be allowed to pass in its original format. So some of us went to the committee. We challenged government that you can't take away, for instance, the powers of the Constitutional Court. Under the laws of Zambia, I am still MP today because the Constitutional Court had to hear my case. You know, remember when I was expelled? So I took to Parliament a demand that the Bill 7 is taking away the powers of the Constitutional Court. That power has to be retained in the Constitution. Remember, there was also a proposal that in case of a by-election, members of Parliament would then be picked by the political party that picked them. So I picked out some issues, but as I've come to learn, because in leadership you pick out lessons based on feedback, right? So as I've come to learn, I may have an understanding of things which I think need to be removed from a document, which then allows the process of give and take to happen. But then there were public concerns that, well, for us, apart from clause 3, which we managed to get out of the bill, clause 7, or clause 5 and clause 9, which things I requested, I moved amendments, I debated, and those bad things were removed. The public had a right to hold their own opinion, because what we are doing is public service. So others will agree, others will not agree, but what's important in leadership, Lovisa, is to draw lessons. And that is why I'm here, indicating that even from the criticism and those that had different views, you can only be a bad leader if you don't pick out lessons. If you don't pay attention that, well, here they agree, but here they don't agree. And that is what I was able to pick out. So as to whether I was judged or not, I think people just had different opinions. Others agreed. It's not everyone who disagreed, but there was that general view from some of the people that were giving me feedback that, well, we think that there was no need to even move those amendments. But here we are. Imagine if we had allowed the Constitutional Court to lose its powers. Okay? That provision would be binding today. Today, where we are seated, the bad provisions 3, 5, and 9, Lovisa, would be binding today. Okay? So you learn. And I think that I drew my lessons from the feedback I got.
Right.
Both positive and negative. Yeah.
Let's move on to a topic of discussion, Honorable Kang'ombe, this evening. Of course, we're looking at matters arising, and one of the issues that I want to start with is that of the recruitment of 2,000 health workers, as announced by the Minister of Health, Dr. Alex Katakwe. You question, firstly, the criteria that government is using, or the Ministry of Health is using, in recruiting these health workers.
Yeah.
Why do you question the criteria that they're using?
Well, I'm not really. I would want to understand. Every year, now we have private health training institutes. Literally every district in Zambia, they are training nurses. We now have private health learning institutions churning out doctors, physicians, different skills in the medical space. So yesterday I asked the minister, are you going to recruit the doctors? Okay, so when I asked that question, my understanding was that government would give the numbers they're going to recruit, and they did, 210 doctors. But there are many doctors that will not be employed out of the 210, because the 210 is a small number. If you ask how many doctors, we have over 500 doctors. I think the actual numbers I may not have, but I know there are over 500 doctors. So people started calling me yesterday. They started calling me, Christopher, 210 doctors. Okay, how many nurses? How many drivers, because a health worker, even the driver of an ambulance is a health worker. Even those who clean in our hospitals, because we need a clean hospital, we need a clean material first level hospital. Those are health workers. So people started calling me, asking me, how are they going to recruit? Because we hear there's a list that will be published. So here, as I'm seated, Lovisa, I'll be a very bad representative of the people. Parliament is the people's house. To fail to ask government to clarify. Okay? Actually, for me, I think government should use these opportunities. When an opposition member of parliament raises an issue, don't look at who's raising the issue. Look at the issue. Use it as an opportunity. So today, because of the feedback I got, that people wanted to know, will there be interviews? Will there be first in, first out? Will they look at who graduated first? So people started now raising these questions yesterday. Honorable Christopher Kang'ombe, you are closer to the powers that be. Find out for us, how will they pick so that when we are left out, it's because maybe we didn't work enough, we didn't do internship, maybe because we didn't volunteer. So there must be a criteria. And that is the simple question. It's a very simple, straightforward question. If I'm in government, I'll use the opportunity from Christopher Kang'ombe to just be able to explain that, well, because we have this budget to recruit 2,000 or whether it's 2,500, the first criteria is those who graduated first, those who graduated second, those who applied in 2023, because last year there was no recruitment that took place. Okay? So government is recruiting for 2025. So people are asking, even as I shared my interaction today in Parliament, go to my feed, see the question is still the same. Who will go in first? Okay? Will they look at the grades? Those who did well at college, will they look at those who had good grade 12 results? I think that government has a great opportunity. If I was in government, I'll use this as an opportunity to explain to the people how the recruitment should be done. ZRIA conducts aptitude tests. To be employed into ZRIA, you do an aptitude test. To be employed by NAPSA, there's a big group, 10,000 applicants, when they only need maybe 50. They keep reducing. Am I suggesting that even nurses, doctors should also be subjected to the same? Well, I'll leave that to the Ministry of Labour. But the point I'm making is that when the criteria is predictable, Lovisa, if people know that I'm applying for this job, the criteria for employment is this, no one will even ask Christopher Kang'ombe to go and ask the Minister of Health what criteria will be utilized. So I'm just conveying the message from the people. That is my simple mandate.
Right. Yesterday when you posed the question around the deployment of doctors, I think the minister's response was that this also depends on the fiscal space for them to do the recruitment and employment. How do you react to his response?
Well, health is a priority. I've been an advocate for health financing. I've been discussing how we can get NIMA correctly, because I received a lot of phone calls from Mulenga compound, which is in my constituency. I received phone calls. Remember, I was mayor for Kitwe. I received phone calls from Buchi, Chimwemwe, people that I worked with, calling me asking that how can they access health facilities. They need money for medicine. When you have an effective health insurance system, Lovisa, politicians will only render advice to people seeking medical health care. No, go to this office, you'll be attended to. But the problem is that we've not gotten our health insurance system effectively running. Yes, it's running, but it can do better. We can raise more money. So in Parliament, I've been discussing health from a financing point of view to delivery of health care. I've been an advocate that hospitals and clinics should not close at 17 hours. I even took a motion to Parliament asking that health facilities operate beyond the normal working hours. Not the other motion I took about the 24-hour economy, but specifically health care. So Christopher Kang'ombe is on record consistently asking that we improve our health care system. So yesterday, my question was, here is a doctor, because when you employ 10 nurses, they'll take the blood sample, They'll measure the temperature, they'll check your BP, they'll prescribe certain things that a patient needs. But when there's a serious illness, you need a medical doctor. So the ratio of the doctor to the patient is critical. So yesterday, the Minister of Health says it depends on the fiscal space, but health is a priority, okay? When government raises taxes, money through taxes, health should sit somewhere on top. Health should sit where we know that priority will be given to people to look after you in case you are sick. So I don't agree that the fiscal space should get us 210 doctors. I think that the Minister of Health should push more with finance because it's a finance issue. The Minister of Finance should get authority from Cabinet to adjust the number of doctors. I'll be a proud member of Parliament to see more than 210 doctors. I'll be more than happy to see more nurses being employed, more people to manage vaccines for young people who are growing, the kids. We all at some point receive the vaccine. In short, Lovisa, government will have to find more money to employ more health workers for the simple reason that each constituency has a health post. I'm building a health post in literally all the farm blocks of my constituency. We are doing a mortuary at Zampton Clinic. That mortuary can't function without a doctor because a doctor has to certify people dead. A nurse can't do that. It can only be a doctor. So when we make this noise, I'm mindful of Sinjembela constituency. I'm mindful of Chifunabuli constituency, where we need to go and station a doctor. So 210 doctors, fiscal space, I think we can do more than 210.
I think from the statistics that we are given regarding the deployment of doctors, but I think around 2022 and 2023, 2023 and 2024, there's been around 727 recruited doctors.
Last 4 years.
Last 4 years, yes. And now with the addition 210, and from the information that the minister gives is that there is about 12,000 patients against one doctor. And this recruitment is also to help rural areas and underserved areas. But 12,000 against one doctor, is that enough?
No, it's not enough. But also, the numbers may not be enough, but the problem should be analyzed also from the perspective of what is the distance between one health facility and say where people stay in the rural part of Zambia, okay? If you go into Malole constituency, which is in Mungwi district, you are looking at the distance that has to be covered from one corner to the other corner. Go into a constituency, the rural part of, say, Nyimba, Eastern Province. Honorable Menyani Zulu has been complaining about the distance which people have to travel. So you may have health posts all over the constituency to shorten the distance. But tell me where the doctor will be found. Is it going to go around all the health posts, moving a distance of even 150 kilometers, sometimes 200 kilometers? Let me give an example of Mufumbwe. To cover one corner of Mufumbwe to the other corner, you have to do almost 280 kilometers, sometimes even 300. So the argument that 210 doctors will be enough, I don't think it's valid. My submission, and this is what I'm appealing through government, because I know they are listening, they want to know what Christopher is discussing. I think that Treasury Authority should be granted to extend the number. Okay, if we can get more than 210, maybe go to 250, maybe go to 300. I still think that we can get to 500 doctors. So the 700 plus the 200 is still not enough because we have more health facilities. Zambia is a big country. We can do more than that has been approved by government.
Regarding the process and just the recruitment of health workers, Honorable Kang'ombe, what's the best approach you think government should take?
Well, my appeal to government is, here's the message I have received. The message I've received from our people is that because every year you are recruiting people, my personal view would be, is it possible that those who graduated, say 2018, say 2015, that's 10 years ago, those who graduated, say 2020, that's 6 years ago, is it possible that if they meet the qualification, Okay? Is it possible that government can simply say, let's start with those who graduated in 2020. Let's look at their qualifications. If their qualifications are authentic, let's take them in. They are able to work. Okay? So criteria number one for me would be those who may have graduated early should be given first priority. Then the prioritization keeps going up. Secondly, is it also possible that if the year you completed is not the criteria, is it possible then that maybe we introduce some form of way in which we can transparently recruit workers? It could be teachers, it could be nurses, it could be health workers. Something predictable, something that gives the comfort. Those that are watching this program, they want fairness. They want a transparent way of recruitment where no one complains. Lovisa, people will complain when there's a recruitment and the criteria is not clear. You are giving people opportunities, but you don't even know how did person B get employed. So government can actually get a plus. They can do something that has never been done before, or they can do something that allows everyone to have predictability. My suggestion is that those who graduated earlier, they've stayed at home in Indeke, they've stayed at home in Zamtan, they've stayed at home in Chimwemwe, Mutendere. Bali aba balilepo okupwisha school, bali aba nesi, the health workers, the doctors, let take them in. Bali aba mbya balepwisha last year, okay? Those who finished last year, 2025. Bali akti balolela koli mina imbi 1 year. Tobali lapo bali aba akale. In short, I'm trying to say everyone wants this opportunity for employment, whether it's a teacher or a nurse, but there must be a predictable method of employing.
Right.
Yeah.
Before we proceed with our conversation, let's just take a look at the clip of course, Honorable Kang'ombe posing a question over the employment of doctors in Parliament to the Minister of Health, Honorable Alex Katakwe.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kampinsa.
Madam Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to direct a follow-up question to the Minister of Health. Minister, you are aware that I'm on record in this Parliament raising concerns around the many number of doctors who have got the qualifications to undertake the work that they are supposed to undertake on behalf of the people of Zambia, and how on many occasions they complain that they are not being employed. And Minister, you have told us there will be recruitment that will take place in each of the coming financial years. I want to find out from you, Minister, have you planned to resolve the unemployment of these doctors who are skilled? They are ready to serve the country. They have been complaining, Madam Speaker, that we are not giving them job opportunities, yet we have vacancies that are available. Have you made a plan to take on board literally all the doctors that are qualified? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member, for that question. Madam Speaker, first and foremost, we need to recall or understand that recruitment is a process that depends on the fiscal space. And there are other factors that make many doctors not to be recruited, though they could have the skills, but they are out there. Madam Speaker, the patient-doctor ratio has also to be considered. Yes, in as much as we may need to employ many doctors to reduce on the patient-doctor ratio, what informs the recruitment of the workforce is the fiscal space. And we do recall, Madam Speaker, that the interventions that the government is putting in place, the desire is to recruit as many doctors or health professionals as possible. And to that effect, currently we are seeking Treasury Authority so that we can have the numbers that I have stated be recruited in the 2026 budget or fiscal year. Although we also have those who applied in the 2025, whose names will soon be published because we are nearing completion. So, Madam Speaker,
Right, that is Honorable Christopher Kang'ombe in Parliament, posing a question to the Minister of Health, Dr. Alex Katakuyo, obviously regarding the recruitment and employment of health, doctors, who he feels others are just languishing in the streets and wasting their precious qualifications as doctors. But let us speak to one issue that you raised, Honorable Kang'ombe, and that is the issue of transparency.
Yeah.
How transparent do you want these recruitments to be? Because I think over the past 4 years that the UPND has been recruiting health workers as well as teachers, they've spoken about transparency, even in advertising these positions, something that they say we didn't see under the Patriotic Front. How transparent do you want these processes to be?
Well, the benchmark for good governance is good governance. Okay, so there's nothing like comparing how teachers were recruited in 1964, how they were recruited in 1991, how they were recruited. What is a good practice is just a good practice. And the good practice should be when the recruitment has been announced, the ministry will set the rules. It's up to the ministry to decide how the recruitment should be done. But the point I'm raising, if you have 100 applicants, Lovisa, and all the 100 are employed, who would even ask about transparency? Who would even ask about which criteria was used? Because everyone has been employed. Here we're dealing with a problem of more graduates than the available opportunities. So to help government deal with the issue of expectations, you lodge in your application, you are a nurse, you have done your training at Nkana College of Nursing. You are expectant that the job opportunity will be given to you. For one reason or the other, you are not employed. That one reason or the other has to be understood by the applicant. So for me, I think that the advert is one thing. Oh, we are looking for 2,000 health workers. It's a good thing. It's a good thing because it creates an opportunity for people to be employed. But the question still remains. When application number 1 has been read by, I don't know which committee is reading the application. When application number 2 has been received, application number 3, you have 10,000 applicants, as an example. Who then decides that application number 1 will be considered and not 2? Do they look at the qualifications, the institution they went to? Do they look at the fact that this person was at Nkana College of Nursing and this one was at Kitwe Trades? What differentiates the applicants? It's government to explain. Okay? And we are asking them to explain because it helps them. That is why I'm emphasizing the benchmark, the comparison should just be good governance. It's a good thing to let the applicant know that it's not everyone. I've worked in the private sector, Mopani Copper Mines, Luansha Copper Mines, Atlas Copco. They call you for an interview. They ask you questions. They'll assess you. They'll look at your grades. They'll set a criteria. Let government provide that criteria. It helps the applicants because 2,000 names will be published. It's not everyone who will be recruited. So to manage the expectation of those who won't be recruited, let government set the criteria. It will help everyone. All
right. Allow me to open our phone line. For those that are tuned in this evening, you can call us on the number that is on your screen. It is 0770-813-728. That is the number that you'll be using to dial and be part of the conversation this evening. Honorable Christopher Kang'ombe is my guest. He's Kampinsa Member of Parliament. Do join us on our Facebook page as well. It is Millennium TV Zambia. We're discussing matters arising. You can come through on the number 0770-813-728. That is the number to dial to be part of the conversation this evening. Another issue that I want us to touch on is that of, I think, a headline that you also posted on your official Facebook page, Honorable Kang'ombe, that of the Secretary to the Treasury, indicating that government regrets turning Indeni into an OMC, an issue that you spoke to. Let me just hear what your perspective over what the Secretary to Treasury said, overturning Indeni into an OMC instead of maintaining it as a refinery.
Yeah, so an oil marketing company is basically a trader. You buy petrol, which is already processed, you buy diesel and you sell it. You make a profit. That's an OMC. oil marketing company. You are buying and selling. So you are a trader. So to buy and trade, you need money. So Secretary to Treasury, very honest man. Maybe that's why he's where he is. Very honest man. He appeared before a committee of parliament, and he stated that, look, an OMC needs the following things. It needs a lot of money to buy the commodity and sell it to a client and make a profit. The model that was adopted in 2022 was that Indeni will no longer be a refinery. Okay? And I'm shocked today the Minister of Energy is calling Indeni scrap. Okay? Technology is too old. It can't be repaired. No, the infrastructure is there. What is needed is to isolate which component do we repair, which component do we put in place so that the refinery functions. Okay? So my comment on that matter is that the decision by government in 2022 to convert Indeni into an oil marketing company and also begin doing what is called ethanol blending. So there were two things that government said Indeni will be doing. $150 million to run the ethanol blending. And secondly, $100 million to run it as an OMC. The person who releases government money, Secretary to Treasury, says this is not working because we have to look for money to be able to give Indeni. We can't raise this money to make Indeni an OMC. We regret the decision. That's what the Secretary to Treasury is saying. Others may not be happy that I'm raising this matter, but that is what the person who pays out government money is saying. And I agree with him. And that is why, next to Indeni, government has received an application from a company from China that they want to set up a refinery. Again in Parliament, I asked, why are we asking the new developer to set up a new refinery when the tanks are already available at Indeni, where the infrastructure has been laid out for a refinery? Why not ask the partner, the business partner from China, that since you have these millions of dollars, let's remove this unit, place in a new unit, and start running the refinery. Okay? Why not install a new pipeline from Dar es Salaam? Because the pipeline that used to bring crude oil, Lovisa, those that are tuned in, we used to have a pipe running 1,700 kilometers from Tanzania into Ndola, bringing in crude oil. And the crude oil is processed to get the petrol and the diesel. So why are we asking the new partner to set up a new refinery when we can simply ask the new partner to invest in Indeni, replace whatever has to be replaced, and then we return the jobs into Indeni. We allow young people to benefit in supplying things like PPE. We didn't just lose the employment for the workers at Indeni. We lost the supply jobs. The women that were cooking food for drivers who are driving into Indeni, those lost job opportunities. So I appreciate the submission by Mr. Felix Nkulukusa, Secretary to Treasury, speaking on behalf of government, that government regrets the decision to convert Indeni Refinery into an oil marketing company. I submitted in Parliament 2022, consistently 2023, consistently 2024, and even last year I asked government, why can't we find a partner to invest money into Indeni?
What problem does turning Indeni into an OMC pose for the energy sector and just the country at large?
Well, Indeni was a buffer. Indeni was a buffer. When you bring in your crude oil, you get out 4 products. You get out your petrol, you get out your... Okay.
Which the problem?
Muhango.
Yes, Mr. Muhango.
Yes, there's too much reverse engineering coming from...
kindly reduce the volume on your TV.
Yeah, I'm moving away. Are we okay?
No, we can still get feedback. Please reduce the volume.
Okay. Okay. Reduce the volume. Hello?
We can hear you. Just reduce the volume on your TV set.
Yes. You know, there is a lot of reversing here from our current government. I will talk about what Kang'ombe did. There is no way you can bring down the pipeline. They will be bringing petrol through tankers, vehicles, and whatsoever. Hello?
We can hear you.
Yes. So I feel that and Zambians must think. You know, when they go to deal with imperialists like America, China built that. I rest my case.
I've gotten his point.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Mhango. The number is 0770813728. That is the number that you're getting in touch with us on the program. You can also catch us on our Facebook page. It is Millennium TV Zambia. You can leave us a comment in our comment section and be part of the conversation. The number is on your screen, 0770813728. That is the number that you're using to participate on the program. Honorable Christopher Kang'ombe is my guest this afternoon. I'll let you respond to our caller, Honorable, and probably my question earlier.
Yeah. So his submission is that the Indeni has existed for many years. It has served its purpose. If there's need to replace any equipment, I think that should be the focus. You don't need made by that will replace it with a new one. I want to agree with him. My submission was basically that Indeni used to give us petrol, diesel, kerosene, bitumen, and heavy fuel oil. Heavy fuel oil is what used to run Ndola Energy, another company that used to produce 100 megawatts of power using heavy fuel oil. That product called heavy fuel oil is no longer available from Indeni. Okay, so Ndola Energy had challenges to restart their machines because they didn't have heavy fuel oil. But lastly, I think that strategically we need a facility that provides a buffer. When there's war in Iraq, when there's war in Iran, when people are arguing in Middle East, if you have enough crude oil which you've transported into Ndola, you can run your machines, produce your petrol, produce your diesel, you get a buffer, you get some security, you get some cover. That was the purpose of Indeni. That is why you have Tazama next to Indeni. Tazama transports the crude oil, Tazama provides the pipeline, and then you have Indeni processing the crude oil. And that is why government now is talking about another refinery. And that is why my argument is it possible? Why didn't we convince our Chinese investor to partner with government on the old Indeni?
Allow me to take this call. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. You're through to the program. Tell us your names and where you're calling from.
Mr. Walia from Lusaka.
Yes, Mr. Walia.
Yes, please.
Go ahead with your contribution or question.
Yes, I think my main concern is that yes, Indeni has been in existence for so many years. And I wonder the people who have been running Indeni, whether Indeni was not making any profit in order to maintain and also make development for that refinery. It's always like there has never been any profit, and there has never been any people to maintain that plant or refinery. So it's really, in my view, I think many of us Zambians, we are not being honest to our own country and our own infrastructure. And we are not patriotic actually. Because I believe that these infrastructure that we have, or parastatals that we have, I think when people are running those parastatals, there must be profits. And those profits must be injected to develop. But it's like there's never been any development before we do is everything in reverse. So I really wonder what kind of leadership we have in Zambia. Thank you.
Mr. Wale, thank you so much for your contribution. 0770813728 is the number that you're getting in touch with us on, and on our Facebook page we are Millennium TV Zambia. Do leave us a comment in our comment section and be part of the conversation this evening. Tell us what you make of our the issues that we're discussing on the platform this evening, as Honorable Christopher Kang'ombe is my guest. Mr. Wale's concern is that probably there's never been any profits, Honorable, to maintain, Indeni as a refinery, because why are we still having these conversations?
Well, we've seen parastatals appear before a committee of parliament called Committee on Parastatals, meaning government-owned institutions. First problem that has been there is that most institutions don't even bring audited financial statements, which shows how the money is coming in and how you are expending the money. So there's some housekeeping that we must do. Indeni, on the other hand, is a very strategic institution. I remember in my previous professional work that I worked for a company that was providing services to Indeni. Indeni was a profitable institution. Like any other engineering institution, you need to reinvest, recapitalize. That is where terms like recapitalization come in. That is where people that are experts in finance agree on a model to finance the recapitalization. Recapitalization, Lovisa, simply means, and it answers the question from Babwalia, it's basically putting in more money to get more profit. So if you have a piece of equipment that requires $200 million, you simply ask yourself, where do we get the $200 million so that we can earn more money and pay back the $200 million? So it's something Zambians are qualified at independence and where we are today. Look at how many institutions are teaching people to do finance, to do financial modeling, to do estimates, to do financial statements. The qualifications of Zambians now are adequate. I actually expect Zambians to be arguing about, no, we have too many people who are qualified, than today to be asking ourselves, where's the audited financial statement for a state-owned institution? So my submission as a response to Babwalia is that we have enough people qualified in the energy sector. We have enough people qualified in the financial sector for us to be able to resolve the financial challenges that most state-owned organizations encounter. Yeah.
I posed a question earlier about what problem this poses for the energy sector in the country at large, turning the Indeni into an IMC instead of a refinery.
Okay, so yeah, maybe that's that question I didn't answer. My answer is very short. The turning a refinery into an oil marketing company creates two problems. One, you need to provide the money to that institution to buy the commodity and sell it to the mines, which finances Secretary to Treasury has said the money is not there. Problem number two, if you don't have a refinery, it means that buffer, the period when there's turbulence in the sector, in the energy sector, you don't create that buffer. There's no security to provide fuel to consumers because the refinery is not running. You're not processing your crude oil. You're not getting your petrol, diesel, kerosene, bitumen, and heavy fuel oil. And as a result, when there's turbulence in the Middle East, you don't have the product to make available to the market. So energy security is affected.
All right. Allow me to take another call. Good evening.
Okay.
Evening, you're through to the program. Your names and where you're calling us from?
Okay, This is Mama Blessings calling from Quito.
Yes, blessings.
Yes, Honorable, how are you?
I'm doing fine, by blessings. Hope you're okay.
I'm okay, thank you. Honorable, I just have two questions.
Okay.
What measurable impact have your policies had on improving livelihoods in your constituency?
The policies?
What policies?
Yes.
Please repeat your question.
Okay, what measurable impact have your policies had on improving livelihoods in your constituency?
Okay, I've gotten it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one is, could you kindly tell us your political stance?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you contesting your seat, or is there any presidential ambitions?
All right. Thank you so much, blessings.
Thank you very much.
All right, the number is 0770813728. That is the number that you're dialing to be part of the conversation on our Facebook page. It is Millennium TV Zambia. We're also live on Honorable Christopher Kang'ombe's official Facebook page. You can also join us there. You can also dial the number that is on your screen, 0770813728. You can also reach us via text and, of course, on WhatsApp as well, using the same number that is on your screen. Two questions, Honorable, from Blessings in Kitwe.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got the questions
about
them. Policies and how they're improving lives
in the
constituency.
Well, I'll start with the first one. Mm. So Christopher Kang'ombe has moved motions in Parliament. A motion is a demand that government implements something, okay? You can't have a personal policy. You can only have an idea on how government should function. Because I can't go into the constituency and say, here in Kampinsa, we don't want this, we want this. Mm-hmm. You have to speak through government. You bring the discussion to Parliament. I'm on record. I used as an example the issue of NEMA. I'm on record saying Section 18 of the NEMA.
I'll ask you to kindly hold your thoughts. We take another call. Good evening.
Policy. You can only have an idea on how government should.
Please reduce the volume on your TV.
And say, here in Kampinsa. Right.
Tell us your names and where you're calling us from.
Oh, my name is Job, calling from Nakonde.
Job?
Yes.
Please go ahead with your contribution, Job.
Yeah. I wanted to find out from the Honorable, maybe taking advantage of him being there, about this issue of the pipeline. I think I wanted to find out, I've seen, especially in Chinsari, I've seen police dotted in camps. Like I have seen about 2 camps or 3 camps in Chinsari along the pipeline.
The pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
The pretext that they are safeguarding the pipeline. But along all the way from Nakonde, I've only seen them in Chinsari. And they have jumped, I've never seen them anywhere up to Lusaka. So I fail to understand what do they safeguard and who pays the cost, because these bodies, they are camps and they exchange every week.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for that question, Mr.
Can I go back to the first question?
Yes, please.
So the first question was which policies. So Christopher Kang'ombe shares ideas in Parliament. He demands for certain things. Demand number 1, we had suppliers of goods and services to the mining sector on the Copper Belt who were not being paid. So Christopher Kang'ombe goes to Parliament, raises the issue. He tells government, if you don't ask the mining companies to pay our suppliers of goods and services, jobs will be affected. Livelihoods have actually been affected. So a direct demand was made to government. Because I put pressure on government, government engaged the mining companies. Honorable Kabuswe came to Kitwe, met Mopani, met KCM, and all the companies that run our mines on the Copper Belt. I'm not impressed with the payments. At least now people are getting paid when they supply goods and services, but we still have invoices that are owed. You supply your goods, you still have 30 days, 60 days you haven't been paid. So the demand, the advocacy, the role of an MP is to advocate, to make demands and then expect government to act. So that is to borrow his word, policy. That's policy number one. Policy number two, I'm on record saying Section 18 of the National Health Insurance Act, the law which creates NIMA, provides that the poor and the vulnerable should be looked after through NIMA without them even paying. Because Christopher Kang'ombe is on a payroll, because Lovisa is on a payroll, you contribute to NIMA, we should cover Baliabalanda. The poor and the vulnerable should be covered by what we contribute. So I went to Parliament and I made a demand that Section 18 says, let's look after the poor and the vulnerable. Today as we speak, government found a cooperating partner who was providing the money for putting the poor and the vulnerable on NIMA. That is an achievement. Okay, so I can go, because every year I move, I don't know if it's 5, 6, 7 motions. So there are these motions I've been moving in Parliament to place demands on government that obviously impact our people in the constituency. Secondly, Rachlai Pushat, what is your political stance? My political stance, we are 30 days to the dissolution of Parliament. We will let you know very soon, I'm sure before the month end ends, on what happens next. But obviously I have a decision on how I'll be able to contribute to the development of my country. I love my country. I believe in Zambians. I believe that Zambians should run mines. I believe that Zambians should run the energy sector. I believe that opportunities should be given firstly to Zambians. And aligned to that understanding, I'll let you know what I'll decide.
Let me take our last call for the night. Honorable. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Your name is and where you're calling us from?
My name is Daniel Daka, calling you from hotel within Lusaka.
Yes, Daniel.
Yeah. Good evening, Honorable.
Good evening, Daniel. Hope you're okay.
Yeah, we're suffering peacefully.
Okay.
Thank you. So I have got a few questions there. I don't know if you'll be in the position to answer or just give your view on the current fuel issue.
Yeah.
So I mostly wanted to talk about the same Indeni. Yeah? They're saying what they say is that the Treasury has admitted that Indeni lacks the capital and the capital to compete as an OMC,
yeah,
like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now, why was this transition pushed through without clear capitalization plan? And how much public money has been invested in this regrettable experiment? And another thing is on the national energy security, as I will say it. So, by stopping
please repeat your second question.
Another question is on the energy security aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. The first question was on capital.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or availability of funds.
Mm-hmm.
So another question is on. They said they're stopping refining and becoming just another importer. So has Indeni actually weakened our energy security? So if so, by importing, are they now going to compete with the private OMCs?
Mm-hmm.
And are they somehow going to disadvantage the private OMCs? Or this push goes through, are we going to see shortages of fuel because the private OMCs are feeling that price gap between the Indeni and the private OMCs competing in price? I don't know if I'll give you a last question. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Please kindly just quickly make your submission.
Yeah, okay. Lastly is we've seen infrastructure of fuel depots. I don't know if it's in Deni, but I don't know if it's in Deni, but it's along the ring road, Great North Road. That infrastructure has been dormant since 2021 to date, and it's a thing that would store quite a large number of kerosene and other things. So, why are we lacking behind when we have the infrastructure, when we have the tools to get crude oil, refine it ourselves, get all the benefits of it?
Daniel, thank you so much.
Have I taken long?
You've overshot. Thank you
We
so
have
much.
3 questions from you. So can I start with the previous caller?
You can start with the previous
Why do we have police officers on certain positions along the pipeline of the Tazama pipeline?
Yeah.
So the Tazama pipeline, I can't speak on behalf of Zambia Police or even Tazama, but I'm making an assumption. So my assumption is that because it's a finished product, it's petrol that is running in those pipes. Finished, it's ready to be used. It's possible that there are spots where there are high risk, where there's a high risk of people puncturing the pipe and drawing out the fuel. That could be one reason. The other reason could be infrastructure next to a pump station. Because the pipe is too long, you need pumps. You move a few kilometers, you put a pump to pump it to the next position. So it is possible that there have been reports of vandalism on certain positions. But like I said, I don't know the reason, but I'm just making an assumption. In Nigeria, we have that problem, where along the pipeline, people puncture the pipe and draw out the fuel. So I really hope that could be the reason, but I'm not sure. I don't want to speak for anyone. I'll come to the last three calls. How was the decision made to change it from a refinery into an OMC? Those are the questions I asked in Parliament when the decision was made that we'll clean the pipe, remove the crude oil, and start running petrol there. We raised these concerns, and I think we've been vindicated. Is Indeni able to compete? If certain things are in place, Indeni can compete. But let me give the competitors to Indeni. You have Puma, you have Total, you have Mount Mary. Look at Total. How many filling stations do they have in Zambia? This is an international company. They have the finance, they have the money, they have the distribution, they have sales guys, they are people that work in an OMC environment. Indeni was never designed as an OMC. It was designed to refine the crude oil. So what should have been done? If the remodeling was going to take place, convert it into an OMC, I listed down 3 things that Indeni or government should have done. Number 1, find the financing model that is sustainable. Number 2, recruit the qualified people to run an OMC. An OMC is aggressive marketing. Go into Kalumbila. You convince Kalumbila that don't buy Puma fuel, buy Indeni fuel. So there's an aggressive approach that has to be undertaken. So that, I think, was never put in place. But secondly, the energy security, the buffer. You have crude oil, you refine it in Indeni, you have a buffer. You have 3, 4, 5 weeks with fuel. Even if there are shocks in the international market, you would have already transported your crude oil. So that I think could have dealt with that matter. Who made the decision? I think it was the ministry that made that decision. People challenged that decision. Secretary to Treasury says we regret because the money has not been found to pump into Indeni as an OMC.
All right. As we close, Honorable, the Minister of Information and Media, Honorable Cornelius Mwita, on this platform indicated that the government announced that Indeni is on ice and it will remain on ice until government decides otherwise.
Well, I didn't hear that statement, but I'm sure he used this platform to inform the public. I don't think that it's a bad thing to realize that you did not make a right decision. Okay? So if a policy was implemented, convert Indeni refinery into an OMC and it doesn't work, there's no harm in acknowledging. But then the challenge is how do you now revert back to the refinery? Because the pipe which was bringing the crude oil no longer brings the crude oil. It now runs on the finished product. My challenge to government is that the current pipe, whether it's crude oil or petrol, is still very small. We need to hear how soon the second pipeline will be constructed. We want to hear who will run the second pipeline. Is it a government pipeline? Is it the private sector that will give government to run a pipe from Dar es Salaam into Ndola? Because the infrastructure is there, Tazama is there, it's just a matter of running a pipe. My submission, therefore, is that we want to hear how soon the second pipeline will be constructed and what financial model would be provided. So Honorable Cornelius Mwetwa, Minister of Information, says it's on ice. If they realize it was not a good decision, it's also a good thing to realize that the decision is not working. But what's the problem at Indeni? It's just money. We give Indeni the money that they need. We recapitalize Indeni. It's possible that we can get Indeni to play its critical role. I don't see government doing that because they are already committed to a new refinery. Next to Indeni, there will be a refinery that will be set up by the Chinese company that is partnering with the IDC. I asked a question in Parliament, what is our benefit in that new refinery? Because Indeni is ours. We have control over so many things. Will the new refinery come with new terms? What will be the model? All that information may not have been provided, but I hope government will use this interaction I've had with you to clarify some things. Government is about explaining things, explaining this is working, this is not working, this we are changing. I think those will be my views.
Honorable, it's been a pleasure having you this evening. We're looking forward to hearing from you and what decision you'll be making regards your political
Can I say something
career.
before
Please,
you close?
You can.
I sat here 2 years ago, you were interviewing me. I made 2 proposals to deal with the issue of the high price of fuel. I suggested, and again I'm on record, Facebook feed, here and everywhere else, I suggested to government that prior to 2021, there was no VAT on fuel. And there was no duty on fuel, so fuel was slightly cheaper. We've been telling them for the last 3 years, remove duty, remove VAT, remove duty, remove VAT, because that will bring down the cost of the fuel. Yes, government will lose income. $200 million has been estimated for this period that these taxes have been removed. Government has finally removed the VAT and duty on fuel. This is exactly what Christopher Kang'ombe was suggesting. We could have provided, we could have extended that benefit to our people for the last 3 years when the price of fuel was up. So sometimes when an idea is brought up, it's not a matter of saying, well, Christopher Kang'ombe will get the credit or Peter Banda will take the credit. If it is something that will provide some relief to our people, government should be able to grab ideas. Let's transform Zambia into a country where we argue about ideas, not how tall someone is, how short someone is, where they are coming from. I think we have a country that needs to be developed. We need to love our country more than the identity of our political parties.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable, once again for coming through. And as I said, we're looking forward to hearing from you and what decision you make with regards to your political career ahead of the 2026 general election. It's been a pleasure having you this night.
Always a pleasure. Thank you to Millennium TV for giving me an opportunity to interact with members of the public.
All right. We come to the end of this evening's Millennium Tonight program. Joining me was Honorable Christopher Kang'ombe, Kampinsa Member of Parliament, as we're looking at matters arising. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Lovisa Chulufia. Do have yourself a very, very good night and enjoy this evening's match or this night's match. And I don't know who's playing. But
Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid.
All right. You enjoy that match. And thank you so much for tuning in. Until tomorrow, just stay tuned and good night.